Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. With me this week is Jon Vanarthos of Gemini Home Remodeling in Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. And Jon has an amazing, inspirational story that I think everyone needs to hear. He's overcome a problem that tons and tons and tons of contractors, most of us, in fact, have. And he had to let go and essentially lose almost everything in order to grow his business and learn how to delegate to elevate, or if you want to just call it being able to trust people. I think that's what a lot of contractors struggle to do, is trust people, and that's why they can't scale their companies and get beyond themselves and apprentice, or maybe they can run a crew or two, but they can't ever fully let go. Jon was riding his motorcycle and got T-boned. Bam! Life changed in an instant. Didn't work. Closed it down for a year. Now he's back up and running. I'm going to let him get into all of that, though. We're going to hear what his pain points were before the accident, what he's done since the accident to not only become an inspirational human being and regain his life, but what he's doing with his company that's so different, and how he's gone from probably not trusting his employees to deliver to being able to be hands off, regain his free time, spend more time with his family, and really not let his business push him around and own him. He owns his business and runs it as a business now, so that he has the free time to spend with his family and go on vacations and do things. We met at coverings. He wouldn't have been able to go to coverings and leave crews behind if he didn't trust them to deliver the end product. So all that being said, Floor Academy is here every week for you to be able to tune in, grab some golden nuts, apply them to your business so that you can take the small steps incrementally and build yourself the freedom that you actually wanted when you said, I'm going to go out on my own and start a business, instead of it taking over your life. And so it's not going to happen in 3 months, probably. Incrementally, day by day, you start taking these things, you put 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour of actually working on your business every day in, and you are going to get where you want to be. The changes will come. Go ahead and check us out over on any, you're listening to this podcast. Maybe you found us on YouTube. We're available everywhere. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review. You guys are my marketing department. I need you to let everyone know how this show is helping you. Like, comment on it when you see it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Let's get some engagement going so that the algorithm puts it out more. And make sure you subscribe. The reviews help it go out to more people on the different platforms. Just, you're my marketing. Please go work it for me. I very appreciate it. It shows me that's the smallest thing you can do, right? If you don't want to join the Patreon, you don't want to support the show as a manufacturer or anything like that, that brings me the greatest joy when I see people sharing content, because it truly makes a difference in their life. We'll hear a couple words from our sponsors a little later throughout the show. That's enough for me. I'm boring. No one's here to hear from Kyle. I want to hear from Jon. Jon, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Hey, everybody. How are you? Jon Vanarthos, Gemini Home Remodeling. Little backstory about me. Started previous to this accident. It was kind of a blessing to us. I grew up into this industry. Grew up doing tile and construction. My grandmother and my grandfather started a tile company, so I am third generation. Out of Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Nobody knows where that is. If everybody's ever heard of Longwood Gardens, that is the area. They were in business for a long time. Father and uncle owned it. They say, never worked for family. They didn't get along. Father backed out. Uncle couldn't keep it going. They shut the doors. So the Gemini model actually comes from Gemini Tile, where I essentially learned everything. I worked in the trades after they closed, doing numerous things. Painting, drywall, like everything. Mm-hmm. Handyman, to set and tile, to everything. I didn't start doing this and I wasn't, the most successful or the best. I moved out to this area, 10, 11 years ago. I'm now a single person. And I went to work for somebody. I was running a crew of 8 and getting paid like peanuts, like $50 an hour. You know what I mean? And
Gotta love
I
this
was like,
industry.
forget this, right? Yeah, like I should have been making double that, And anyway, went out on my own, did my own thing after about a year. Um, Obviously, like most of us, right? We
Mm-hmm.
took
Mm-hmm.
on anything and everything. Um, and as of, so I think legit 7 years ago, maybe eight. I mean, it was me and another guy started the company. I did everything from A to Z. And like the OC, I have OCD. So like I'm a perfectionist. I need everything. If I didn't like, I was ripping it out.
Oh.
That's just, I think we all through that though, somewhere, you know what I mean? To where at some point we look back at our work and we were like, we're like, all right, we were learning at that stage, you know what I mean? I feel like we all go through it when we all first start out, no matter what. Even though I may have excelled in tile, I may not have been the best carpenter, and you learn. I say it like we were talking about earlier. The internet is like a blessing and a curse
Yes.
in the same sense. Like I can learn so many things from watching those stupid videos, right? But then again, I look up and it's like 30 minutes later, like I will never get those 30 minutes of my life.
Yes.
And I watch somebody cook rice out of a wok. Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? I feel like we've all been there. It's
all the time.
All of us, we've all been there. So, I never, no matter what I do, I was always taught you put 150% into it.
Okay.
Right. So I tell, no matter if I have one employee or 30, I tell my guys, if I have to, excuse my language, I will shovel for it with my bare hands. And I will to this day. If times get tough, I will do that. If it pays me, that's how I'm going to provide for my family. Like, you better believe I will do anything. I will flip burgers at McDonald's if I have to.
Yep.
So I'm a go-getter, right? I guess you can say, some people that I would assume a lot of people in the trades and some deal with like the whole addiction thing. That was me 15, 20 years ago. I have over 10 years over. I haven't drank or drug since. And I have turned, I look at it like this. For people that have been in my situation will understand what I'm saying. And for people that haven't, I have turned my ambition to get the next drink, right? To get to that state store when it's 2 foot of snow and I have no shoes on my feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I will scoop dog poop with my bare hands for $4 an hour if I have to. And that's where that, derive, it comes from. I am not a settler. Go ahead.
You apply it in a different way now, right? So instead of putting it as addiction, you've probably turned this into the addiction, which can, there's healthy ways to do this, folks. Like a lot of us do it in an unhealthy way, but I talked with Jon, and he's big on telling me, he wants to be able to play with his 8-month-old daughter, right?
Yeah, 9-month-old.
Okay. So, like he's a kid, right? He's coming home and he's doing things with her. So it's not all about like, you can have healthy addictions, but I get it, right? Like you have a drive that your mind is twisted towards wanting something and you push really hard to go get it. And you said, okay, this is ruining my life. This thing makes my life better. Let me take the urge I have here and apply it somewhere else. And that can be done. And just change your life and make it absolutely amazing and fantastic and enjoyable instead of, I'm sure alcohol made you miserable and rotten to be around.
Yeah, fair to say. Yeah. It was like a blessing and a curse. It was, right? Because no matter what I do, it's always over and above, right? Mm-hmm. And I have to constantly tell myself, like, even on jobs current, like I want to go over and above to where I have to literally look back in my quote to be like, no, they didn't want to upgrade to that. So I have to slow my roll a lot of times, because actually it's like, we're doing, hardwood floors in a kitchen and I'm like, I'm just going to give them an area vet. And then it's like the next thing I know, I'm ordering 5 area vents and it's $550 later and 3 weeks from Canada. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm losing money. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
idiot. And they said they don't want to upgrade to that, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to always slow my roll because every time I dig my hands into something, it's always over and above, no matter what I do. It can never be easy, you know?
I get it.
So
Well, let's.
it's
I want to dig into like more of this. Like, let's kind of take this in stages, right? So like, let's look at your business from where it was, right? And so if this was before time, well, maybe you because you said it's been like 10 years. So what did it look like, right? You had these 13 employees. You're running this thing. You're going above and beyond on everything. You're probably doing work that you shouldn't be doing. What did it look like prior to the accident? Like what, even though you were probably making money and you felt successful, what'd your free time look like? What'd the home life look like? How did you feel compared to now, right? Like what was where was the business at and where were you at prior to the accident?
okay. So started with me and a helper, built the business, and I took on every and anything. In the beginning, um, I was literally doing like kitchens for like, you know, 18, 18K. No, my materials involved, but no like appliances, nothing like that. And it was, I was doing these jobs just to keep money going. Um, Built the business. I became, within about the fifth year, I was at about 13 employees, and I would keep on plumber, an electrician, and a framer, and a drywall guy, and it came large enough to the point it was driving me insane. All I was doing was babysitting every day. It's Sunday night. I'm shooting the guy's job. The plumber calls out first thing in the morning. So now the whole week's schedule gets pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
All I did was babysit. It was like babysitting children. It was it was great, but it was a pain in the butt. It really was.
Yeah, I
So I
believe it.
lost focus with all of those people, and I quickly scaled down. I scaled back to like between 2 and 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
We were rocking and rolling, and everything was great. I still kind of am, but not to this day. I put in like 100 hours a week. There was no after work life. It would like come home, eat, shower, crash.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try to go out on the weekends, but I would work Saturdays, so, and Sundays I'm trying to cram everything in, and I blink my eyes and it's 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Heading back to bed. I feel like we've all been there.
Well, and you're fitting in
no
the estimates. You're fitting everything else in, right? You're on a project all day. You're putting estimates
Yeah.
in the evening. You're writing the stuff up. You're trying to get billing and chase money, and you got these guys, and they're asking 8,000. You can't ever get anything done.
No, it was. I can say this: I am extremely organized for where my business is. Where it used to be, I'm a very organized person. If I don't write down, I forget. I talk to 10 to 15 clients on a daily basis. I write everything down.
Good for you.
So even prior to the accident, like I said, I was very organized. So things ran fairly smoothly. And, I would always change things up to give the guys more incentives. Like I would start giving them bonuses or percentages if we got done a job in a certain time period. I'd drop off materials, but again, I'm working a 6 to 8 hour day, sometimes 10, 12 hours. I'm then going on estimates at night, then coming home and writing them. No balance. I know, and I just grinded for like 5 years. I did. And like I sit back and look at it now, and like I didn't have any fun. My fun was work. Like there's only so much fun in, So
Yeah. Well,
it's tough.
Yeah. Let me ask this. So you grind for 5 years. Was there anything to show for it? Was there a bank account with $100,000 sitting in it? Was there toys that were purchased? Like, after 5 years, like what'd you have?
Not as much as I thought that I would have. I was trying to fine-tune the business prior to the accident.
Okay.
I was always changing things up, trying different things. Every 3, 6 months, I change a little, I tweak a little here, tweak a little there. Don't get me wrong. I bought a house. I got a brand new truck. I got all these different things that I saved up for,
Hmm.
but it was just work, 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 work. That's it. I didn't do anything other than work. So it was tough. It truly was.
It'll wear you down.
Now is I run a multi-million dollar company. I have 4 guys that I know if I call, I can count on in a drop of a dime. And you know what? I'm still trying to balance that like family and work life, but it's phenomenal. I feel
Excellent.
like I'll always fine tune
Hmm.
everything, but I feel like I'm in such a better position now. Um, I'm trying to think.
Well,
3 years and I don't know, couple of months.
hmm.
Um, I was riding back on. I was riding back on my Harley. I had a bunch of people with me. I had someone on the back, a friend on the back, and we went for a nice cruise. It was a beautiful day out here by me in Bucks County. We were coming back from New Hope, so it's like a beautiful ride on the canal, um, beautiful scenic route, and uh, I don't know, probably 6 o'clock at night. Anyway, long story. Short. I see one way each way. I see this lady stop with her blinker on. She has to cross my lane. She comes to a complete stop, and I'm going about 50. And I just had like that gut wrenching feeling.
Hmm.
She came to a complete stop. At the last second, all I see is it was frozen. Um, like I knew I was going to die. I wasn't going to make it out of this. I was going way too fast. I was like 100 foot in front of her. There was no way for me to stop on a bike. Um, like in that moment, I know this is going to sound crazy, but anybody that's had a life threatening experience, life and death, like I was okay. I was at peace with myself not making it through that accident.
Wow.
Uh, I was happy. So it's a scary thing to say. I still get goosebumps from it, but like I was okay not making it through. Like I lived a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was okay accepting my fate at that moment. She ended up T-boning me. She trapped my leg. The person on the back, she flew over my head, flew about 50 foot in the air, landed on her face. Me, the car impacted my left leg, trapped me, and then after impact, you know, either the bike or the car moved and released my leg, and I went flying. I was coherent the entire time. I landed on the pavement, and it felt like my legs were at a 360 degree. I was just in excruciating pain. Went to the hospital. Long story short, dislocated and broke my hip. I have a 10-inch plate and 6 screws. My lower spine is fused, like right where your pants sit. I have 2 rods and 6 screws in my spine. They're about 4 inches long. My pelvis has a plate and 3 screws in it. And I lived in the hospital for, I think, 2 months and a week. I got released from the hospital and came home for 4 days, tried to move. I couldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
I could not move my leg. Both of my legs would always completely go numb. And had to go back to the hospital for another 3 weeks. They had to drain my hip. I believe my hip was the operation. It was open too long, and I got a blood infection from it. It almost traveled throughout my entire body. I had to get a blood transfusion when I went back. It was a good time.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it was quite the quite the ordeal. Look, I'm glad you're here. It's been wonderful to like get to know you and hear this story. Like, I'm glad you ended up on the other side. Okay, you've got a great attitude about it. But just look, folks. We all think we're like we put it all on the line and we have these businesses. But the reality of the situation is, and I think we'll probably hear part of this in the story, is that as owner operators, many of us are living close to paycheck. And, you know, whether I don't get paychecks, I get projects. Well, you're living project to project, and you may have 12 months booked out. But if you have the situation that happened to John happen to you, what do you have? When you're the one that's got to go out there and you can't perform anymore, and you don't have the insurance to protect you, and you don't have, like, you know, casualty insurance, and, you know, go get Aflac or something, whatever. It's all gone in an instant. You know, he got hit on his bike, trapped in the hospital for 3 months. I don't even want to know what that bill looked like. That's got to be over $500,000. I was going to say,
that's my spine surgery.
So
that was a nice one.
Let's protect ourselves. Let's build these companies and make sure that we're charging enough to be able to have things in place to keep us safe. That's the most valuable lesson in all of this, is let's actually look out for us instead of thinking, oh, it'll never happen to me. Yeah, man, you can continue to roll the dice all you want. Somebody's number is going to come up, and you probably know them. You better hope it's not you. But I'd rather have the just in case insurance in case it's me. But continue.
You know what's crazy, to bounce off of what you just said? You know, I had an old head tell me this when I was younger. When I first started the business, he used to always tell me, John, if somebody were to kidnap you, would your business still be able to run? And I would always like, the guys would take care of it, but like they would have no idea. they would only be able to go until the jobs are done. They wouldn't know what jobs are starting next, what's going on, what's happening. And I mean, for the most part, they still don't. It's not like they, my direct employees who, run the jobs, they
Mm-hmm.
don't know every single detail, but I make it a lot easier for the guys. I try to anyway, because it's the truth. Like, your card could be pulled at any moment, and then what's going to happen? Listen, I could have been making $10 million a year, but if my card was pulled when that lady pulled out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making or not making. It's a struggle on a daily basis, right? And I am stuck between humility and anger and frustration on a daily basis. I try to stay humble, and thank God I'm here, because my card could have been pulled. But the daily pain that I deal with, you know, I play and I bounce off of that thin red line, and it happens very quickly throughout a day. And I fight it and I go back and forth. And I think that's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think there's ever going to be, I've accepted the fact that, like, it is what it is, right? I've accepted the fact, like a month ago, I had a massive infection. I had to get my fake tooth pulled, right? Like, things happen, things pop up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I don't let those little things, like, determine who I am today. I don't. I just got back from Greece with a missing tooth in the front of my mouth. Do I care? Absolutely not. Because guess what? Never going to see those people again. And frankly, they don't make me who I am today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Only I control that. So that's why I say I battle that fine red line on a daily basis today.
Good
It's
for
hard
you.
some days. It is. It rains and the pressure in the air changes, and those pins and rods in my spine or hip, I'm literally on a daily basis laying on a heating pad. That is like my true love, a heating pad. But you know what? I can still get up and walk,
Mm-hmm.
because I could have been paralyzed for the rest of my life, you know? Um, so I try not to get, prior to this accident, if an issue on a job happened, I'd freak out. I'd get pissed off. I'd be yelling. I'd, be disappointed in the guys. You know what? Like, things happen today. It is what it is. I just
Mm-hmm.
made a mistake on a job the other day. We did a little kitchenette, and I ordered the wrong size cabinet. You know what? The client just waited 3 months for this cabinet to come in. Wasn't
Jeez.
anything special, a box store cabinet, but, like, I owned it, and I told her straight up, like, listen, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
We all
Mm-hmm.
make mistakes, right? No matter how well we plan, we all do it. And it is what it is. Like, but prior to this accident, I would have beaten myself into the ground over that mistake.
Yes.
Those are things that are out
Mentally
of my control with that.
correct. I think a lot of us take it. We're so invested in the business, right? It's a reflection of us, and then man, you suck. You take it. You screwed it up. I can't believe like I did that. And you're negative to yourself, which then affects the internal you and will take you down and then make you less successful than you want to be. And it'll that head trash affects you. What you're talking about is I had a great conversation with a buddy of mine, and he was like, as a business owner, like, it's your job to solve problems. So instead of complaining about it and bitching about it, just solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
that's the truth.
that's what you're talking about, is it's that simple. Everyone stop getting frustrated by it and realize that you're in the business of solving problems. It doesn't matter what the problem is. He ordered the wrong box. Go to the client. Own. Hey, I ordered the wrong box. I'm sorry. I screwed up. Let me get the right one ordered. We'll take care of it. I apologize for the delay. The fact that you owned the mistake, admitted to it, and took care of it, maybe they're upset, but they're going to respect that you didn't lie to them. You didn't try and hide it. You just came to them and said, "Hey, I screwed up." Right? You open up a floor, and the plumbing's all screwed up. Oh, this is going to delay me. It's not your fault. It's a problem. Stop bitching about it. Pick up the phone, call the plumber, get him in there, have him fix it, and move on.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter what we're doing. Just solve the problem instead of complaining about it. And I think John's attitude is exactly right. Like, I've really been trying to implement this in my life lately of just recognize what the problem is. And instead of getting frustrated by it and complaining about it, what's the solution? And then act. I think a lot of times we sit there and we debate, oh, should I do this? Pick a direction and go. Just move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt us for 1 second, and then let me just rip papers through the microphone. I'm sure everyone appreciates that as they listen to this episode. I apologize.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt us with one second. We're gonna hear a couple words from John's Manville, and then we will get right back into it. Looking for the perfect waterproofing solution for your tile installations? Look no further than John's Manville GoBoard. It's time to say goodbye to worries of moisture damage and hello to durable, easy to install tile backer. GoBoard is engineered to withstand tough environments, providing excellent waterproofing protection. Whether it's your bathroom, kitchen, or any other wet area, GoBoard has got you covered. It's just cut weird. Don't compromise on quality. Choose JM GoBoard for the ultimate waterproofing peace of mind. Visit our retailers and ask for GoBoard. Go to your local distributor. If they don't have it, ask them to bring it in, man. It's a great product. People love it. And you get a deal with Shauna if you find her online and talk with her. And she's just great people. So good company over there. Okay, John, we're talking, we got problems. We need to realize we have a problem. We need to come up with a solution, which is a great attitude to have. Obviously this kind of came out of previously. It sounds like really you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You know, you had up to 13 guys, you kind of scaled it back. You were running around trying to manage. And it's amazing that you said you cut it down to like, what'd you say? 5 or 6 guys?
Yeah.
It's funny. Naturally, we can manage effectively 5 to 8 people. So you just you cut it down to that number automatically, like just not even knowing what was going on, right? Just, well, this makes sense, right? So I think we get too big. We don't have the people in place, the systems in place to run things, and it's just a mess. And sure, you were turning over jobs, but it doesn't sound like there was no cream left over. It was just go, 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 go.
That's all it was.
And we're super busy, and that we got really high revenue, but there's no cream left over to, you, like you said, you got a truck, you bought a house, you had these things, which is great. But then even still, this accident comes along and took you out. So what did that time period look like? It was 3 months in the hospital. You were told 80% chance you probably weren't going to be able to use your leg again. Your spine gets fused. You got bolts and plates and all kinds of stuff put in you. The business was closed for a year.
Yeah.
But as we kind of talked, like there wasn't a whole lot in place, it sounds like, to kind of set you up to get you through that year. So what did that even look like to survive for this year?
Right. So how we plan, right? So close the company, I'm in this accident, get out of the hospital. I'm going to rattle off some names, right? Because these people, and more than just the people I'm going to name, helped me tremendously. So when I started my company, right? I joined Tile Geeks. I joined Global Tile Potsy, all these groups, right? I'm not going to sit here and name them all. It doesn't even matter. And I excelled, and I became very good friends with a lot of these people that now I can call family, right? That have helped me tremendously. So I'm in this accident, I'm home, and people are stopping by, visiting, calling me. And a lot of people that I only knew for 2 or 3 years through these groups, through these Facebook groups, right? I know that Paige from Schluter, P2 Customs, and Shannon Huffstickler, Carl the Flash, Michaela, Jordan Drennan from Canada, my Canadian connection, and Jim Tigos, they started a GoFundMe. And a lot of people donated to that. And I can say that let me say this, right? No matter how much we have in the bank, $1 million, $5 million, $500,000, it doesn't matter. I drained every single one of my accounts to the point like that following month, I'm like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? Right. Because like your bills still show up, right? Your truck bills and trailers and vans and this and that and shop and office, and they still show up no matter where you are in life. I drained every penny, right? And these people that I just named started a GoFundMe that literally floated me for months. I am not a person to ask for help, but I can say this, without all of those donations, like I wouldn't have pulled through it. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been able to pay for my truck. I would have told them to come and take it. Right. And listen, I don't care. I'll drive, a Fred Flintstone car. I don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me. Right. But like when you're in that moment and you're like, wow, how am I going to pay $500-600 for my truck payment this month? It's like, whoa, that's a game changer. Like you don't think of that when you're running and gunning and you're making all this money, right?
Correct.
So these people from these groups that I met that are now family, like we meet all the time, we hang out all the time. I talk to all these people. I wouldn't say on a daily basis, but I would say like on a monthly basis, right?
Yeah.
So shut down the company, right? And I had a buddy living with me at the time. At the time, I was a single dude. And he was like, what are you going to do? And it kind of hit me like 6 months in, like I'm on all these painkillers. I show no emotion, right? And he's like, what are you going to do for work? And I would always be like, yeah, like I'll make do. I'll figure it out. But like 6 to 8 months in, it like really set in. I'm like, yo, what am I going to do? I would go back to these doctors, my spine doctor, still to this day. Right. I'd go back and he's like, how you feeling? And I'm like, oh, good. Look, it was an emergency surgery. They did a phenomenal job. Right. The spine doctor tells me, he says, John, imagine if we took your spine, a section of it, and put it on a solid surface, and it was an ice cube, and you took a mallet and smacked it. He said, your spine literally exploded. So when they put these screws in, right, in my spine, there was no bone to hold them. My nerves would hit these screws and my legs would go completely numb. And I would go to walk and I would just collapse. And, I'd go back to these doctors and I'm like, listen, doc, am I going to like walk? Am I going to have a limp? Am I going to have a cane? Oh, I don't know. Like they don't want to tell you nothing from all the lawsuits anymore. So it was like a huge mystery to me throughout this entire process. Like, where am I going to end up? Am I going to end up with a limp? Am I going to ever be able to walk without a walker or a cane? Right. They told me that there was like I think they said technically it was like a 78% chance that like my left leg is never like, I'm going to at least have a cane the rest of my life. And I'll never forget, I was about 6 months in, I just started physical therapy. And, that's where actually I got a lot of my information. And she was like, John, I don't think you're going to make it out of this, walking normally anymore. And that put me back into overdrive. I looked at that lady and I'll never forget it. And I was like, there is no way I'm walking with a cane the rest of my life. Right. And I was out to prove her wrong. That gives me so much ambition. Right. When somebody tells me I can't have something, I'm like, watch this. That's how I am. That's my personality. I'm going to go get it.
Yep.
So I gave everything from that point forward, like 200,000%, right? And I pushed through everything. You know, I remember it was like a year and a half in, and I'm at physical therapy, and and she's like, John, you're doing great. You know, like you're walking without a limp, like you're doing awesome, right? I'm progressing awesome. And I looked at her and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to run, right? I'm a 35-year-old male who is fat and I love smoking cigarettes, right? And she looks at me and she's like, her name was Melissa, I'll never forget. She goes, John, tell me the last time you ran. And I'm thinking in my head, like, damn, I haven't run in like 5 years. Like, who am I kidding? I'm not running anywhere. You know what I mean? Literally, I'm not running anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was like a little bit of a wake up, you know, like it was almost like that sign of relief. Like, I'm there. I got it. I got what they told me I couldn't have.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I progressed, right? And my buddy pushed me to that edge, you know, and said, like, I don't think you're going to do it, you know? And I was bouncing all these ideas. I was thinking about keeping Gemini closed and starting a new business venture, right? I didn't. I committed. It took me maybe a month to put together like a 5-page solid game plan of how I'm going to GC my business, right? Go full general contractor.
Okay.
Because it's not just tile that we do, right? I do additions, we do basements, kitchens, and bathrooms. Realistically, now don't get me wrong, we do, you know, $1 million renos to, you know, $35,000 bathrooms. For me, at this point in my life, and I tell clients all the time, and it's kind of that proud moment. I'm not being cocky, but it's a proud moment. When they say, like, oh, I have a friend that needs a ceiling fan hung. Now I am at that point where I have to respectfully tell them, like, I can't do something like that for you. What am I going to charge you? For me to send a guy and a truck and tools, insurance, gas, you know, overhead, I'm like $1,000. What am I going to charge you? $1,000 to hang a ceiling fan?
We lost you for a second.
Find a handyman, right?
There's two sides to that coin, right? Sure. Look, I'll happily do it, but my company, like the overhead cost this is where we're at. It's $1,000 ceiling fan. You can get a handyman for $100. You want me to do it? I'll do it, but I can't. You want to give me $1,000? Like, sure, man. Why not? All day, every day. I'll go make $1,000 in an hour.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Give them
right?
and I love what you said. Look, folks, listen again, John. How long did you spend coming up with what's now making you successful? You literally, I came up with a game plan. You planned your business.
I planned it. I wrote everything down of how I was going to run the company. You know, we would use subs for when I would have like 2,000 square foot of hardwood floors. My guys aren't nailing that. I'm bringing in guys to do that. So I was already previously using subs just on a smaller scale, right? I sat down, I had a meeting with every sub, and I called all of them. And listen, it takes years to weed them out, right? Fair warning, that is the hardest thing to do transitioning, is finding a good subcontractor that is reliable and communication. Those are the two most important things, okay? If you communicate with clients moving to the next level, you could, you know, not literally, but you could make the biggest mistake in the world. As long as there's communication and clear communication, you're good to go. I would rather pay my subs more money to do a better job, right? So I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to stand at that job. For example, yesterday, while everybody was sleeping in, I was at a job. My drywall guys started a 50-sheet job that we're doing. I didn't want to go. I went, I checked in with them. Hey, what do you want? Whatever. I gave them like an extra $200, right? They wanted to start July 4th. Okay, go to town. Here's my appreciation to you. Do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And they know it. I show them the utmost respect, and they show me the same. My plumber, my electrician, my painters, my drywall guys, all of my subcontractors, when I call, it's not like a runaround. I don't have to, of course, I still have to babysit them. But as long as my communication is clear to them, what I expect of them, it's all good. Listen, I've gone through it. I tried carpenters and they like wouldn't clean up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freaked out. I didn't even freak out. I just told them, you have 3 hours to get back to that job. I don't care what time of the day it is, to clean it up, or you're not getting paid. End of story. It's not up for discussion. But you have to weed those guys out. You do, because you're always going to get the best plumber in the world. I'm going to give you a perfect example. My window guy is phenomenal. The best window guy I've ever had. Window, siding. His communication is in the dumps. Yeah, John, I'll order the windows. They'll be in 3 weeks. 3 months later, he's calling me. Oh, the windows just got in. Now, look, we all understand things happen, things get pushed back, but there is no communication in between. Mm-hmm. So at that point, now I have to look for a different window guy. And I may have to weed out some good and bad ones. We're all in this together. Like I just talked to Jim Tigos. He helped me with the drywall guy that I have now. When I was in the accident, I called him, Jim, I need a good drywall guy. I don't want to have to babysit him. Jim was like, use my buddy, call him. Ever since, Gerardo's been phenomenal. He is awesome, right? And you just have to go through that. As long as you're okay with asking for help, asking other people, asking other contractors, hey, you have a good plumber. Hey, you have this. Hey, you have that. Everything will work out.
You're talking about you're still babysitting, but I don't think you're babysitting on the same level. You're going and you're checking in. You're making sure they're doing what they say they're going to do. But I don't know that that's babysitting. That's just GCing your project, right? You're checking in. You told me you would deliver. You're the professional. Whereas I think what was probably previously happening, correct me if I'm wrong, is you really were babysitting them. You were showing up and you were having to say, no, you can't use that screw. You have to use this screw, and you can't use that hammer. You need to go get this tool. And like, you were having to tell them how to do the job, which is super ineffective. And you can't be everywhere at once. So while you're correcting this guy's mistake, this guy over here on the second floor is creating another mistake that now we're going to have to go rip that all out and redo it. And it sounds like you really learned how to not only interview people to verify that they are what they say they are, but you learned that to step back and just say, I can't be everywhere at once. I have to let them deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And if they can't, I just find a new person. And if you have in-house employees, you need to train them. Otherwise they're never going to deliver. But with subs, look, if they want to run their own company, man, I can't use you. And I think that's a hard lesson, right? Like firing people is hard because you have to admit that you screwed up because you hired the wrong person.
For a lot of people.
Exactly. I don't want to admit I screwed up. I'm perfect. I'm the boss man, right?
Yeah, I don't either. But
no one wants you. Correct. Suck it up, Buttercup. You wanted to run the company. Put on your big boy pants and let's go. Like admit you screwed up and move on. Because the longer you don't admit it, the more screwed up your company's going to get.
Yeah. I'm very big in a couple of things with my subs. One, for anybody ready to do this, here is my best suggestion to you. Okay. One is always have clear-cut communication. Like, there are still times where I got to tell the guys, like my plumber, perfect example. He's going to a house we just installed carpet for in this lady's basement. I think it was 2,600 square foot. Okay. Carpet. cost me $40,000 just to purchase it. That's not the client's cost. That's my cost.
Jesus.
I still have to remind them, listen, you get so much as a booger on that carpet, you're paying for a new one, And they're like, whoa, hold on, how much? So it makes them realize when you take it to the next level that they need to step their game up, right? If you don't communicate with them, they will walk all over you, right? So communication is huge. And second, I don't make my guys wait to get paid. I pay them half up front and half usually within the week that they complete. I don't make them wait 30 days. I don't make them wait 45. I don't make them wait 90. I don't believe in that. Now, that's a hard pill to swallow once you first start. So maybe adjust your quotes accordingly, right? So how I did it is this. I used to get like a $500 deposit for jobs. I don't do that anymore. I get 30% up front. So in PA, legally, I can get up to 30% of the job up front, day of signature, right? Then if I'm doing a kitchen and the cabinets are $40,000, I can also receive that payment for all materials. So in my contracts, I have it is very cut and dry, right? If a client decides to back out, hey, John, we don't want to do the work anymore. That first 30% deposit is non-refundable because I'm not wasting my time. I'm not going to invest into you if you're not invested into me. And when I go on interviews, I'm interviewing clients. They're not interviewing me.
Well,
I don't waste my
it goes
time.
both ways.
I vet my calls. I do. But I've had to build it to that, right? What do you think you're going to be spending on this type of project? This is where we start on this type of project. I used to run around to 10 estimates a week and land 3, 4, 5 of them, whatever. Now I would rather go on 2 estimates a week and land 1, because now that I'm vetting my calls, they already know what I expect up front. There's no hidden cost. There's no hidden ads. If there are mistakes and we demo a project and, hey, the insulation, we need to replace the insulation, that wasn't in our quote, this is how much it's going to cost. There's no, hey, John, if I pay you this much, listen, this is what it is, end of story. Yep. With that being said, I don't want to run off too far, right? Which I just did.
No, you're good. I got a question about it.
Sure.
So it's 30% upfront plus the cost of materials. So you're getting, that's honestly probably, a lot of my flooring bids are like 50-50. So you're probably getting most of the money up front, but you're ordering the materials. Yeah. They own those outright. What do you charge anything the day you start then? Or like where are you getting the other 20% of the money that's remaining for labor?
The week prior to us starting, I go and get another deposit. So I usually start the day I'm starting a client's job, all materials are paid for, meaning finished materials, right? Plus 50% of the job is already in the bank account. And depending on the size of job, it can go anywhere from 5 payments to 10 different payments. Okay. The larger the scale, the more payments involved. When I'm finished, day of completion, clients owe me 5 to 10%,
which is all that's all your profit.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
I'm already into the profit. Let's say there's 5 payments. Profit is starting on 4th.
Good for you, man.
So
That's
fourth and fifth are profit.
And I'm assuming that you're not just depending on the payments coming in. There's a bank account these days that if that check doesn't come in correctly, you can still pay the subs out because you've taken that profit, you've saved it. This is the difference. This is why you can do what you're doing now, is because you're managing the business instead of running around trying to work in the business and play, babysitter with all these guys and gals that you have out working for you. And that's really what I want to drive home is, one, you're requesting the money up front so that you have it, and then you're not making people wait because you were responsible enough with your money to save some and actually earn a profit, that you have a bank account that says, oh, you completed it, looks good, as long as you come back and honor the warranty, here's your money. You found trustworthy people to work with, and then you get your money. That last check comes in, you're not even hurting for it because you've got the bank account, and you say, look at that, another 10 grand. Whatever. Like, I'm already, I just saw an awesome video, and they were talking about how a lot, like, again, I said it earlier, I think a lot of us are project to project. And so you need the money to come in from July's project this week so you can pay July's bills. You're probably in a situation now where you're using March's money to pay July's bills. And that's where you need to be. You have to set money aside or you're never going to be free from the rat race. And it'll change your company. It gives you so much more freedom.
Yes, it does. And I'm not chasing money. That's the most important thing. I used to chase money to pay money, right? Rob Peter to pay Paul. That's what I used to do. I don't do that anymore. So if you, let's say it's a bathroom, just using that for an example, right? 50% of the labor up front, right? Forget materials. That's already paid for. The materials are already sitting on site day we start. I try to load the jobs. So when the guys start, the materials are all there for the most part, right? Demo, electrical, and plumbing is well within that 50% that I've received from the client, right? Then prior to drywall, let's call it, I get another, I'm going to break this into 4 payments, okay? Because a bathroom is a little easier. Let's say it's a simple bathroom in and out. Prior to drywall, I'm getting another 25%. So that's 75% of that bathroom is paid prior to drywall. Now, sometimes my drywall guy goes in there and I don't get a payment until after, sometimes before. It's not that big of a deal, right? Within that 75%, my guys are paid. Subs will and can all be paid within that 75%. I've already made money on my material, my overhead, and my costs to run my company, right? So I'm already into the profits, okay, within that 75%. All of those things are paid. So now when I'm calling the painter, I'm calling the tile guy, we're prepping the walls in, Schluter, Weedy, GoBore, any of these products, right? I don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. I already have all the money.
Yeah.
So I don't have to make my subcontractors wait. Are you completed? Here. There you go. So now when I call my subs and I say, perfect example, hey, yesterday it was July 4th. We just started another kitchen literally today. My company started another kitchen. All the guys are there, right? So next week, my drywall guy is getting done one job and he's going right to the next. I called him this morning and said, yo, the job will be ready for you in a week. We'll have plumbing, electrical done. Now it's an easier kitchen. We're not moving locations. It's more of a, rip it all out, do some drywall and new cabinets, right? It's not a huge conversion. But he will bump other contractors that make him wait 60 days for a payment. Book it to me first. He'll be like, we'll call him and go, hey, I can't start till Wednesday. Sorry, something came up. Because he knows I'm going to pay him immediately. They will jump when I call. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean that respectfully. Um, that is one of the biggest things that I found that has made things work. If they're, listen, there are always going to be problems, right? Always problems on jobs. I forget to order a little piece. Someone didn't go pick something up. Someone forgot to bring a drop cloth. Listen, it is what it is. Just make it happen and do it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
guys aren't calling me saying, hey, I forgot a drop cloth. I'll see you tomorrow. They know that I'll tell them, no, go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, Ace Hardware, go buy a drop cloth and get to it. So they know what they expect from me. And that's what they receive in the clear communication, right? I'm getting paid pretty much ahead of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't make them wait. My guys have never called me and said, hey, you forgot to pay me on this job. Never, never, ever, ever. So that is one of the biggest things going from me and an employee or four different employees to subcontractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and the third thing is you need to find where they excel. Once you find that contractor, let's say it's a tile guy, you find where they excel, where the pros and the cons, right? So my guys all do extensive training for waterproofing. All right. So my direct employees who run the jobs. So we normally prep all the jobs because I know the prep is 100%. I'm not relying on the tile guy to prep it, and he has no idea how to use a brand new product that just hit the market. So things like that really make a huge difference to where my tile guy, even though that he's extremely well priced,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have to hope that he installed the Go board, the Weedy, the whatever board we're using, he installed it correctly. Did he install it correctly? Because now I'm
Mm-hmm.
giving the client a warranty and I'm standing behind that work,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
A client calls me in 5 years, I'm going to go back and check out the situation. I'm not going to say, hey, sorry for your. So that's a huge thing. So a lot of times we prep these jobs to get ready for the contractors,
Okay.
and it helps the overall job because some guys, like some tile guys, aren't going to want to do extensive training like we do. They're just not, and it's
You're
okay.
right.
It is what it is. So
He's sorry,
sorry, I
guys.
keep
He's
getting
getting he's
calls.
getting blown up with calls. We
It's
apologize.
all right. It's all right. So there are certain things that are just easier for us to do. So you got to find your strengths and weaknesses of your contractors, right? Your subs, what they enjoy doing, what they don't want to do, and you make it happen. It's really not that hard. And listen, I can honestly say I was scared to death when I was in that accident that I would not be able to perform and make this happen. And like I can tell you that from prior, I'd bring in 500,000, 750,000 throughout
Mm-hmm.
a year. Now, times that by like six or seven. I've taken this
Congratulations.
company and just because I don't like settling. But
Mm-hmm.
you also, same with your subs, you got to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So I'm not going to take on 30 jobs and oh my gosh,
It's okay.
sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
not going to run 30 jobs simultaneously when I know I can't handle 30 jobs. My guys can't handle 30 jobs because guess what? Then there's going to be multiple problems, multiple mistakes. So I won't personally make that mistake. Um, I know where our sweet spot is. Our sweet spot is 10 to 15 jobs simultaneously. I mean,
Okay.
we have everything from bathrooms open. Like I said, bathrooms, basements, kitchens, additions. Right now we have like 5 kitchens open. We just wrapped up 3 basements. I'm trying to think. We're about to start a huge addition in Princeton, hopefully. We're everywhere.
There's always something, which is great, right? Like you've built a reputation. I think I'm sorry, this one's on me, folks. Like, this is a great interview, but I have another commitment that I have to get to, and I don't want to cut this off. So we'll probably have to have Jon back. I think the key thing you're talking about is, it's a concept I've heard. It's who, not how. And a lot of times we look at a problem, we're like, how do I solve this? And that's putting it all on you. And you've given up on that. You said, screw how do I solve it? You said, who solves it? And you're going and you're hiring a who, which is the subcontractor or an employee. And you find the right one, right? We make sure that their personality fits with us. They can deliver on what they promise, but the who goes and solves the problem for you, and you're hiring a who instead of figuring out how. They know the how. So just find the who and plug them in. And that's why you can have 10 to 13 jobs running at once, because you have a bunch of who's and you're not trying to figure out how.
Yeah.
That's all the difference in the world. And you had to realize that you have to trust a who, because they said that they could deliver. Well, they didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Good. Get out of here.
Hard.
You're axed.
That's
Go.
hard in the beginning to trust people who say they can deliver.
It is, but you're never going to look. I've said it once. I'll say it a million more times on here. If you don't want to trust other people, stop trying to run a business. Okay. If you want to be an owner operator, that's cool, but stop trying to hire people and do this thing. There are plenty of people out there that would be better off going and finding Jon and working for him as an employee, or another company as an employee. And he will take this industry so much further, because he's getting the things in place to actually let people be successful. As he said, he was running crews for like $14 an hour. It's despicable. And yeah, okay, great. It was 15 years ago, 20 years ago he was doing it. It's still despicable. Yeah. It shouldn't even be a pay rate for it. It's disgusting. So let a guy that Jon's already said, I'm going to pay you better, because he knows, look, I'm going to tell you the communication, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what I expect of you. If you can deliver that, it's worth X amount of dollars to me, and it's more than what everyone else in the area is offering. No brainer for everyone involved. It's a no brainer, right? If you don't want to learn how to sell, and you don't want to learn how to manage your money, and you don't want to learn how to let people go and train them and deal with all the nonsense, go work for the company that will, and go plug in and be a cog in their system and get treated very well. Let alone if you become an employee, you know, the company gets big enough, they're going to have to provide you benefits. They're going to pay your taxes, so you're not worrying about that. And for everyone that says, I don't make enough, I'm never going to make as much as an employee, bullshit. Because you don't understand the difference between top line revenue and bottom line. Okay. You don't understand the difference between gross and net. And you're looking at doing $350,000 gross, but you only kept $60,000 net. And you can probably go get on payroll for someone and have them give you a company truck, and you can get paid $100,000 a year salary, which means you'll net at least 75, but you got the truck for free and you don't have that payment, and they're paying the gas. Like, there's a lot of perks that can come with working for a company that's going to treat you right. It's so, but
you're going to hit a point where you cannot excel past a certain point working for a company. If you use this, skies are the limits. You just got to break it down and think about it.
You got to be willing to do the work, though. You're right. It's incremental, right? It's again, I talked about at the beginning of the show, why is Floor Academy here? Because if you really want to do this, it's going to take you doing the work a little bit at a time. I don't care if it's 15 minutes a day, but you have to put time to work on it. Okay. And so 15 minutes, an hour a day, whatever it is, it's going to add up over time. but you actually have to do the work. You have to set the goals. You have to break them down into steps. You have to go and do it. There's a bunch of you that I see out there. Y'all say you want to do it. You're not doing it.
Stop making excuses and just do it.
Well, do it or shit or get off the pot, man. Go be an employer. Go be a business owner. Those are your choices. Stop playing in the middle because you're fucking up this industry. I will call my audience out. Look, I'm sorry. I'm going to be an asshole. You're fucking up the industry because you're in the middle and you don't know what you're doing. You're running a horrible business. You're not charging enough. You're not making any profit. You feel like you're doing well, but you're living project to project, and you're fucking it up for the rest of us that want to do well. Go let somebody else handle it all. Go get paid really well as an employee, and it'll get better for everybody. Stop hanging out in the middle because it's fucking everything up.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I apologize. I do need to run. Any last minute, like a quick piece of advice or anything, John?
Listen, if anybody ever has any questions, concerns, reach out to me on social media. You can shoot me a text, give me a phone call, however you want. I will walk you through the process. It is extremely easy. You have to be willing and you have to have the drive, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to wake up and success falls into your lap. Doesn't happen like that. Yes. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, right? A lot of people think just because they start a company, they're going to be multimillionaires. It doesn't work like that. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. But if you're willing to take that step, I'm willing to help. So that's what I can say for this one.
Look, I love it. And I agree. There's plenty of people that have given me help along the way, but I had to deliver. I think I said it a couple episodes ago. There's a bunch of mentors out there that you can almost reach out to anybody that's in one of these online groups and they'll willingly mentor you. But you know what? They're going to stop real quick when you don't deliver. If I constantly have someone calling me and I'm giving them advice and they don't go do what I told them to do that's going to help them, I ain't going to help them no more because they don't give a shit. They don't appreciate what I'm doing. They don't respect my time. They don't respect themselves. If you're going to call John, you better deliver because eventually he's not going to answer his phone for you anymore. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
All right. That's going to do it. I'm going to have to have John back on. I love this conversation. He's got a great attitude. He's got a great mindset for this. He's definitely growing something that we all need to watch and look out for over there on the East Coast, let alone he's hanging out with that, even though he's in Pennsylvania, he's hanging out with those Jersey crew guys and probably meeting up with them for their once a year, like dinner that they do.
Absolutely.
All right. There you go. See, I know they got a special crew over there, guys. We need to get more of this going on. And I don't want to just interview people and be like, oh, you're part of the Jersey crew. I want to know that you're part of the Grand Rapids crew or that you're off in the Denver crew. Like, we need to start getting together and let's not just make it tile people. Like, it's a group of tile people in Jersey. I want to know that the carpet people are getting with the tile people and the hardwood guys are getting. Let's get really smart business owners together. Speaking of that, if you want that opportunity and you want to grow your business, flooracademypod.com/mastermind. Go learn about my mastermind groups. I'm putting you in groups of 5 for people that want to actually grow their business. They want the accountability to move it forward. They need that business therapy where you get to come and you get to spew out your problems and externalize them because most of us only have ourselves to talk to and we internalize everything. It's not working for you. These groups will get your business moving forward in the right direction. I've got 3 people on a waiting list right now. I need 2 more. Reach out to me. It's amazing. They're $350 a month. It's way underpriced. The value, it's easily $1,000 in value a month. If you can't 10x your money, you're doing something wrong in these groups. I guarantee it. I'm looking, I want to help everyone grow their business that actually wants to grow it. And I'll tell you what, when you put money down on the table and you say that you're going to do it, when you don't show up to the meeting, you not only let the 4 other business owners in the group down, you let yourself down. You feel really foolish. So you're getting great advice from other business owners that have been there and done it, but you're also, you get that accountability you need and you put your money where your mouth is to make it happen. And that's the difference. So go check those out. Yeah. Go subscribe on YouTube. Still trying to grow that platform. Make sure if you want to see the videos and, you know, funny faces I make and all of that fun stuff, you can check out the podcast in video format over there. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, check out the website, flooracademypod.com. There's all kinds of free resources in the file section over there. I got book recommendations. You can help support the show at patreon.com/flooracademy. Even $5 a month goes a really long way. Look, we're dropping nuggets over here that are going to give you thousands of dollars. $5 a month, $60 a year. Is it hurting you? Probably not. How much value do you get out of listening to this show every week? Help me out a little bit, okay? Because it allows me to continue to do it, and I love doing it. This is super fun for me. I love having these conversations and interacting with the industry in this way. All right, quick word from Tice. Hey, listeners, it's nearing the show season again, and I want to remind you that the International Surface event is returning to Las Vegas January 24th through the 26th of 2024. Mark your calendars now. Floor Academy podcast listeners will have the opportunity to register for free once registration opens in September using the promo code Kyle. You can't screw it up. You can't forget it. Use my name, KYLE, 4 letters, not hard. Whether you're an installer, retailer, distributor, or serve in another capacity within our industry, attending Tice is a solid resource to expand your knowledge and networking base. You can also learn about the newest industry-leading products coming to the market. Stay up to date with the International Surface Event page on Facebook or online at intlsurfaceevent.com. Don't forget, when registration opens and you go to register, it's not the 24th through the 26th, it's the 23rd through the 26th. We got that day of education the day before, so you can go get all the special talks and stuff. They'll try and upsell you on all of those packages there. So there's going to be a lot of great stuff, as always, and it's an amazing networking opportunity. Look, I went to coverings. I met John. This interview is happening. This is how you start to grow and meet people and really change your business. You've got to attend these events, because hanging out in your area and never going anywhere probably isn't working as well as you think it is. Go open your mind and get out there. What else? We got one more thing. We've got Ethan. I'm going to screw the Ethan Kofed. Look, I can't. I'm sorry. Okay. You send me a message and tell me how bad I butchered it, and I'll get it fixed. Right. He left a review. It says, a must listen. Floor Academy is a must listen for anyone looking to up their game in business. It's educational, motivational, and most importantly, actionable. The content has been invaluable over my first few years of owning and growing my business. There it is, folks. Straight from the words of the people out there doing it and actually implementing what they hear here. So thank you so much, Ethan. I appreciate you leaving the review. If you leave a 5-star review over there on Apple, I will read it and it gets in the show. And I am out, so I got to go look and see if anyone's left one. Otherwise, get on it, folks. It takes like 30 seconds. You know, you ask your clients all the time for a review. You're my clients. I need a review. Head over there, okay? I'll put the link in the Floor Academy Facebook group. Leave me a review. John, thank you so much. I appreciate you making this work. We had a couple scheduling things, and we got there. It all worked out.
We got there.
And we're gonna have to.
We got there.
Hey, that's all that matters is we got there, and people got some. Right. They got some great nuggets, and we will have to do it again. And I look forward to it. So thank you.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. We will catch you next week.